Hello Cancer, this is your July reading. We're in mid-July now, so I'm going to touch on what has been coming up for you so far, and we will look beyond this month into August for you as well. We had a new moon in your sign on the 5th of July, and it's coupled with this upcoming Capricorn full moon opposite to your sign on the 21st of July. It's an extremely important full moon. I've only spoken about it in this video and in the Capricorn video, your polar sign. And here we have the moon in Cancer represented by the Four of Cups. So from the 5th of July to the 21st of July, you have been in this container of some sort of a mood. Basically, there has been just a vibe for you. It's been quite a steady emotion or mood. Some may even call it a funk. What's underneath that? Ace of Cups. That's a flow of emotion. So perhaps under this full moon in Capricorn, you're going to be offered an opportunity for a huge release. The Capricorn full moon is in an outer sign conjunction to Pluto. What does that mean? Pluto is a planet of intense transformation and growth. And this Capricorn full moon, Capricorn is your polar sign, so you'll feel this Cancer, and it's coupled with your earlier Cancer new moon of this month. Well, it's about closure on something pretty big. It's about recognition for the part you played in the circumstances that exist for you now. It's about transforming that and changing, and then getting closure and actually being able to help people with the same issue going forward, even becoming a teacher or an instructor on this. The High Priestess. This is the energy you're working with now, and you're biting your tongue, you're pulling your energy back, you're being quite reserved on something. You're keeping stumm, you're keeping private. There's an energy of secrecy with the High Priestess, but there's also an energy of intuition and just knowing when the right time to release is. And there's something about knowing what you know and nobody being able to take away from you the fact that there's just a little something, a secret, you know, or you just have an intuition about the world around you or what's going on or the people in your life. And like her scroll here, you're keeping it close to you. There's no need to prove anything when we see the High Priestess. There is just a sacred knowing, and when the time is right, maybe you'll share. When the time is right, maybe you'll reveal. Maybe you're being tasked with holding secrets at the moment or keeping information private or just knowing. Now we have the Knight of Swords and the Two of Pentacles with the Five of Cups and the Knight of Rods. Two knights in the reading headed in the same direction, forward. So you've got your sights, and those are both the fastest moving knights in the deck, the fire and the air quality. So you certainly have your sights directed towards what's coming up in the future. Knight speaks to ambitions and goals and motivation and activity, action. This is not stagnant energy. This is about getting things done and going towards a goal or a purpose or a mission. So we'll talk about that. Let's see what else we have. Six of Swords in the reverse. We have the Nine of Swords, the Hierophant, the Queen of Cups. This is you, Cancer. This is the cardinal water, and I was thinking about this today as I was doing the card of the day. Finally, the Eight of Swords, which was our card of the day, in fact, in reverse. When I was doing the card of the day over on my Patreon, I was talking about this crazy alignment we have today, which is Mars and Uranus conjunct in the sign of Taurus. Obviously, you can't go too far without seeing what's on the internet at the moment in terms of shock factor, even violence, impulsivity, and just like chaos, right? And that's very much the signature of the Mars-Uranus conjunction. But I wanted to know for my Patreons, and of course now for you, what is coming up for you under this alignment on a more personal level, okay? So we'll get into that. What I need to say though is, seeing the High Priestess and the Queen of Cups together, you're ruled by the moon, Cancer. You're ruled by the flux and influx, reflux, whatever you want to call it, of emotion. But there's something different. Emotion and feeling are different, right? There is some sort of a sentiment you have or a feeling now of who you are, where you are, that you're enough, that you were born enough. And it's a real like special remembering that's going on for you right now. There's a certain remembering about who you are and what you're capable of. and that you don't always have to be doing something. Now, the Knights here kind of counteract this very soft, internal, retrospective mood that is kind of sweeping you up at the moment. You've been swept up in your feels this Cancer season, I think, and there is something about really knowing who you are, knowing a secret, keeping something private, something personal to you, something that you're nurturing. The Queen of Cups is our archetypal Cancerian mother, nurturing, nourishing, growing, cultivating, keeping safe, keeping protected. Okay. If this reading resonates that we're about to get into, I will be doing an extended where I'll pull 10 more cards, and that will be linked below on the Patreon, where you'll find extended reading for your sign this month, as well as lots of other things. This month, every month I'm going to be doing a special 6-month overview for each of the signs, depending on where the sun is at. Because the sun is in Cancer, that means you're the first sign I'm doing this for. I will also be offering a 6-month overview for the sign of Cancer over on Patreon too. So if that sounds like something you might be into, go check it out. You're under this kind of crunch at the moment, I think, to share, right? Because the Knight of Swords is such a fast-moving energy and it's about action, whereas the High Priestess is all about passivity and slowing down and not making a move or not speaking up. And it's not speaking up out of anything that's suppressed. It's a very conscious and it's a choice made out of integrity, that I'm actively choosing not to speak on this because I'm keeping it private, because I'm keeping this scroll of information to myself. It's my download, it's mine. There's something protective when we see the Queen of Cups. So there's this sort of like sense of something belonging to you in this reading at this time. And it's very special. And with the High Priestess and indeed the Hierophant, very sacred. So with the Knight of Swords, however, there is this kind of urgency we hear with the Knight of Swords. We hear this urgency to do. So there might be something that you have to do about this though, right now, and that's where the Two of Pentacles comes in, where it's a back and forward, it's a weighing up and it's a wondering, and what should I do about this? And this is what you're consciously thinking about at the moment. You're thinking about what way to do it, how to say it, how to act on it. Should I not? Where will I put my energy? What will I do about this situation? Is it work? Is it information? Is it a revelation? Is it something to do with your time, your resources? You're just balancing up what's worth it. And I think you ask yourself things like, is the juice worth the squeeze on this? Is there a point in me voicing this concern? Is there a point in me letting this person in on the secret? Is there a point in me sharing my sense of what belongs to me, what I'm nurturing, what I'm nourishing with others? And then there's this external pressure to do so in the terms of the Knight of Swords, because with this seems to be a time-sensitive issue. So time is of the essence. It's time to probably act on this. It's time to do something about it. And now you're just figuring it out how. I suppose the fear here is being vulnerable, and even deeper than the fear of vulnerability with the Queen of Cups is this subconscious Five of Cups. There's a fear of loss. There's a fear of setback, and there's a fear of disappointment here. The Five of Cups, well, they're seeing what they've spilled, so we'll take that as the fear of loss, of what can't be replaced, of what's not coming back, and of what's not being reconnected to or reignited in your life. But behind you are two cups. So you've got two absolute sure things. You've got two sort of, and two, maybe not, but we have this sort of promise that's already set in stone for you. It's locked in. You have something already that's so important to you, that's so rich with emotion and feeling and depth and things like that. And I will pull a couple of cards as this energy comes through for me. I'm interested in this subconscious fear of loss or fear of disappointment, or remembering. There's so much remembering that's happening in this reading. There's a remembering who you are. Three of Pentacles in the reverse falling out of the deck. Remembering what you're no longer, or realizing rather, what you're no longer part of, no longer actively working on, no longer encircled by or with. there's a realizing that that's gone, and that subconscious knowing is affecting your decisions at the moment. It's affecting your energy, it's affecting your mood, because there's only so long that this can be kept under wraps, and the time sensitive issue of urgency on the secret, on the private matter, on the what's mine and what's sacred. It's time, if something's sacred, for example, it would not be in your spiritual highest and best to be a beautiful potter or ceramics maker, and to keep that high priestess, keep that for yourself and only yourself, and never share it, even by, you don't have to sell it with the world or merge your talents, but if you were to hoard your creations in a cupboard, and when guests come over, not even offer them a cup of tea in one of your creations, that wouldn't be a spiritual service to yourself or indeed the world. And little by little, that talent would be drained from you, or that interest, or that sense of what's mine and belongs to me and is special and sacred to me, because it would turn it into something shameful almost. Is there anything that there's a shame around this, Cancer? Is that going a step too far with me? Perhaps. But all of this, Cancer season is associated with nostalgia, the past, our lineage, our ancestry. It's deeply rooted in the chart that we all have, our birth chart. The fourth house is associated with the subconscious mind, with the moon, with our roots, with our family. And that's so you, Cancer. You're the lunar sign of the zodiac. So there is always this kind of like remembering. There can be a yearning for the past. There can be past life flashback. There could be, I think Cancer is the most prophetic when it comes to things like dreams and even spirits and things like that. My son is here at the moment in Ireland, and this house that I'm in is, oh my God, well over 200 years old. And well over 200 years old, in fact. And there's a spot on the roof that he looks at all the time, and I will call it a spirit. My mom was like, it's not a spirit, it's an angel. I'm like, okay, sure, potato, but like whatever you feel more comfortable calling that. It's just something, I think Cancer is most attuned to those frequencies. Other dimensions. My brother, who's a Cancer, like, he's like, you don't have to ask me if I believe in ghosts, like, please. So I get that kind of like attunement to something beyond. Don't doubt your intuition, Cancer. This goes well beyond Cancer season. Never doubt your intuition. You always get a hunch, and it might not be, that's the thing. Intuition isn't like an exact science by any means. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the High Priestess and go just a little deeper. Of course, I'll pull 10 extra cards in the extended, but just curious. Another Knight at the bottom of the deck. 9 of Cups in reverse. Okay, there is I love what you're working on. Keep working on what you're working on. This is a separate issue. The 3 Knights are all headed towards this goal, this mission, full of action, full of ambition, full of direction. It's good. It's purposeful. Don't slow down. Keep on rolling with that. In terms of whatever this mood is, okay, shame, okay, could have been too strong a word, but take what resonates and leave what doesn't. 9 of Cups in reversal is also about low self-esteem. It's about feeling embarrassed. It's about feeling like, don't look at me, you're cringe. So it's a fear of being seen is coming through. Leo season is coming up around the corner, and this is the opportunity to figure out why you feel this way. Cancer season is all about feeling the feelings, identifying the feelings, realizing what they are. And Leo season is about boldly shining in creative self-expression and vulnerability for sure, because Leo puts themselves out there, and we all have Leo in our chart. So this is speaking to you, this is speaking to me, putting ourselves out there and just boldly sharing who we are, letting our freak flag fly, letting our voices be heard, just showing up authentically in the world. And Leo, of course, wants that to be validated. It's part of the soul growth to show yourself, to show your ceramic cups, to show what your talents are, merge them with society, merge them with the collective, so that everybody can be lifted up by your energy, your talents, your resources, your voice. and your good news and your celebrations. We want to share that with you, Cancer. And Leo season is all about being bold and confident. And right now there seems to be an issue around that for you. And it's the general mood is shying away. I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be heard. And you might say, that's not true, but I think that's what the deeper level is here, and it's more subconscious. In the past you might have been shamed for who you were, what you had to say, your, you know, you as a person, you felt in some way like you needed to hide yourself or diminish yourself or sink in or shrink, and that's not what is being asked of you. And I know this is not going to transform overnight. The way this reading ends is with the Eight of Swords. This is still something that you feel will be a work in progress, okay? The thing about the Eight of Swords is the Nine of Swords is here too. That's in the highest self position. We'll get to that. The thing about the Eight of Swords is once the transformation occurs in the Eight of Swords, when you realize that, okay, I'm actually not trapped behind these swords. I can wiggle loose, remove the blindfold, see myself and the situation I'm in clearly and the world around me clearly, move forward, you know, get off these heavy clothes and move away from this kind of weird ass scary looking castle in the background, and like leave behind, maybe it's something like this castle here in this background, leave behind my fears, my losses. Yeah, look, things change, relationships and connections die. We lose touch with essences of ourself quite often, and there's a bit of that. I know I'm not supposed to be pulling too many cards until we get to the extended, but let me just, the Five of Cups is very intriguing for me, and then I'm going to move on. The thing about intuition not being an exact science, it's funny how my brain loops back to what I was saying when I see an image. I've got a Cancerian card here. The thing about that is you don't always know the exact reality, but you've got, like, say you have a hunch about something, or you feel somebody's holding something back from you, or you feel just a little iffy and you just know in your gut somebody's not sharing or somebody's not truly showing who they are or expressing themselves, but you can't always know what the truth is. That's when people kind of like go overboard, I think, and can go into like anxiety and fear-based narratives, and quite often projection. You will project your lived experience or your fears or doubts onto what you believe that person is going through or hiding. More so, you just know when something is off, and that's what true intuition is, just getting a vibe or just having an inner knowing, but you can never know truly what somebody else is going through. So keep that in mind. I think Cancer will make things a lot easier for you and less of a like it's a lot to bear emotionally. I speak to you as a fellow water sign. I know what it's like to kind of like, you know, people are like, oh, but I'm an empath. Maybe your nervous system is just unregulated, because people's moods shouldn't affect you that much if you're emotionally regulated. Look, we all have our ups and downs, but Cancer season can be a bit of a roller coaster. I get that. So try to stick with just trusting in your gut feelings and following your heart. The Three of Cups and the Five of Cups, a loss of friendship, a loss of kinship, a loss of sorority, a loss of community and camaraderie and just connection. Like it's a bummer, you know, it is a loss of support. And some of you don't feel that emotional support truly, so that it's harder for you to express yourself. It's harder for you to share. It's harder for you to be vulnerable. But at the same time, I think the Knight of Swords taking this direction and taking this action and having a time crunch on this is actually helpful. You have to work under a deadline in a sense. So, I mean, that actually helps you just do it rather than like allow yourself to continuously have your emotions like your emotions basically dictate your reality and how you move and what you do. Like, come on, that's not the way we have to move after Cancer season, but it is a good idea for you to get in touch with all of this now. But I guess, like, shouldn't you just be sharing either way? Shouldn't you just be expressing and kind of like reveling in this and if it's just a remembering of who you are and a sense of self, then that's enough, truly. Knight of Rods, just we'll go into it in the extended, but the past has been motivated. The recent past has been busy, action oriented, and I'm putting down my cards. The Six of Swords in the next 6 weeks, but I would actually say in the next 6 days for many of you. There is going to be a setback. There's going to be some sort of a delay, a pause, or a reconfiguration. Upright, we're moving towards, we're headed somewhere, we're moving on, we're transitioning. In the reversal, there has to be a pause and a stop. And usually this comes with some sort of a block. Not always a block in the mind. Sometimes this can actually just be like delayed flights, cancelled plans. Somebody saying to you, hang on, you're going to need to give me another week, another month. I'm not ready to commit. I need more time to think. So something that had been kind of like all systems go, Knight of Swords, Knight of Wands, keep going, keep moving, now reaches in the next, I think 6 days, like I think quite imminent for some of you, but this could be an energy of the next 6 weeks too. A very notable setback, pause, or delay that comes up for you. And yes, what's that going to do? Nine of Swords, the higher self, is like, this might make you spiral, okay? Momentarily, this might make you spiral. That's the Nine of Swords. Ugh. But what really, this is the highest self coming in with not such a gentle card, but an important message to say, keep doing what you're doing and just keep going, keep moving. And if you're finding it like one delay after another, one setback after another, try not to lose heart, Cancer, but try to be reminded, and I think it's probably you have an emotional issue to tend to at the moment that is actually much more important than the issue that's being delayed for you. It comes from this place of fear, of loss, of loss of connection, loss of emotional support, or lack of those things. And it comes then with this kind of like what you've been holding, what you've been nurturing and keeping private. It's very special to you. It's very, very sentimental, very precious, very sacred. And, you know, of course, that comes with the risk of being seen. So if you are continuously reaching setbacks or delays, maybe you need to work more on that fear of being seen and working with that, basically. A Hierophant in your environment, deeply sacred, deeply ritualistic, and very present. Your environment is calling you to be present, Cancer, rather. Your energy is calling, the energy around you in this environment is asking you, begging you to create ritual, to create sacred space, to create a sort of viewpoint, or I guess emotion and feeling are different. The feeling that you're being invited to step into at the moment is like a love for the world, a love for yourself, a love for humanity, a love for nature. Whatever it is, it's just like something that doesn't change like emotions. It's a feeling of being at home. And, you know, this closure that's coming up on the full moon on the 21st, it could be an acceptance around what is lost and what's remaining after the loss, the Two Cups, what's still there and what's staying there for you. And when you reach that closure, you know, that's why I think for many of you, something will come up in the next week, which might be related to the setback or might be more related to the emotional issue. And chances are it's all energetically linked anyway, but it might bring you closure coming up to the full moon when you realize like, oh, I had a part to play there too. I'm going to change how I do things. And you know what? I'm in acceptance now. And you know what? If anyone ever needs me, I know how to speak on this. The Hierophant implies wisdom, and that wisdom is gained through your life experiences. Again, bringing it back to these creations, hoarding your ceramics in a press, in your cupboard. I'm trying to use Cancerian kind of archetypes and symbols, and not sharing when somebody is invited over for tea with you in the comfort of your warm and cozy home. So you're depriving people from being all the way let in, and you're depriving people from seeing you, and we're all missing out then. The Queen of Cups, we talked about that. The Eight of Swords, we kind of talked about that. The Eight of Swords is about this transformation taking some time. So this doesn't have to be August. In fact, August still looks like a time where you're deliberating or you're kind of wondering how you're going to do something, you have a choice to make about whether or not you want to see something, do something, be around people, or act on something. And in August, you still don't quite know. Maybe it's not as complex as it appears to be now. And hopefully in August, the blindfold is coming down around that. I'm going to move straight to the extended now, Cancer. That will be linked on Patreon. I'm going to be doing a 6-month overview for your sign, which will be released over the next few days on Patreon too, where we'll focus on like what the next 6 months looks like in terms of money, love, relationships, overall well-being, and like themes like destiny and spiritual purpose and things like that. If this is all you're sticking around for, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe. I would love that. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Like, share. Any other way you'd like to support would be greatly appreciated. Bye, Cancer.